welcome back to my channel. Today's video is obviously the 2021 wrap with me video, and I'm going to be doing a Q&A again this year because y'all really liked it last year and I've gotten a lot of requests recently if I'm going to do this one, so here you go. If you came here looking for ideas and you haven't seen my other videos, I have a really good what I got my kids for Christmas this year video, as well as what's in my kids' stocking. So go watch that first if you want to see everything. I have 5 kids and they're different genders and ages, and there's lots of good ideas over there if you're looking for something. So watch that first. Today we're just going to be tackling that mountain of presents that's I don't know where in your house. In my house it's like, well, maybe I shouldn't say, but there's a whole stack of presents somewhere. So if you have that, put in your garage, under your bed, in your husband's closet, or wherever you keep it, grab that stuff and let's get it tackled together. It'll be like hanging out with a friend, I guess. I'm going to be answering your questions that y'all sent me on Instagram, which honestly you asked a lot of really good questions. I was impressed. I screenshotted all of them and I have them ready to go. So I'll show you everything that I'll be using for wrapping, and then I'll move the camera back so you guys can see me wrapping while we're chatting. So grab your stuff and let's get into the Christmas spirit and get our to-do list tackled. I've got comfy clothes on, leggings, and an oversized shirt. I've got my Christmas candle going to help get me in the Christmas spirit, which, by the way, that one is Apple Garland by Bath & Body Works, which smells so good. I got it during their like 1050 candle day or whatever, which is the first time I've ever shopped that sale. But anyway, I've got little trees on my table. If you've seen my picture on Instagram of this room, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna move that back. I'll show you guys all my wrapping stuff and then we'll get started. This is my little Christmas tree situation that's just everywhere. I've got the chairs moved all over the place just so I can film this video, and that's all my YouTube equipment, so don't mind that. Over here is my wrapping paper, and it looks like I bought enough. I tried to get all of the cutest ones that I could find everywhere that I saw. So if you see anything and you want to know where it's from, just let me know. This is like a wrapping paper under the bed container that I got to hold it all, but you know, as you can see, it's kind of busting. So most of the wrapping paper is from Target, but not all of it. This one, for instance, is from Michael's, and some of the paper is from Walmart as well. So just let me know if you need to know where anything is, if you like it. Over here is where I keep all of like the ribbon and stuff, just like jute or twine, and then some different ribbons and little finishing touches. I like to use this metal stuff that you can get fairly cheap at Walmart, like tons of it, and it's really easy to bend. I like to use that to attach tags and little embellishments onto my presents. I also got one of these for the first time this year. I've not used it before, so you guys can laugh at me and see if I know how to use that. And then I also have tulle. If you've seen my other videos, you know I don't like to use like stick-on bows. My thing is definitely tulle, and I think that I have all the Christmas colors and some black in there too. So it's not very accessible there. I'll have to get it out so that I can grab the right color to do some Christmas decorating. Almost all of those came from Walmart, and they're like $2 each. And then I also got some that is 50% off from Hobby Lobby. And then over here is where I have like extra Christmas tags for family. I have my favorite pin that I keep in here. It's a Pin Gem one, which would be really good for putting in like an older teen stocking if they like cool supplies. And then these cute ones are from Michael's. And then I also got some really cute little embellishments, and I think technically these are for like little Christmas trees, but I got these 50% off from Hobby Lobby that I thought would be cute, like tied on to some presents, just to dress it up a little bit if I feel like being extra like that. One of my best suggestions, which is so easy and inexpensive, is making custom tags for your kids. So this all started when my boys were all 3 under the age of 3, and nobody could read back then, and I still wanted them to be able to independently figure out which gift is whose at Christmas. So I started doing this when they were itty bitty, and I would just put them against a wall, take a picture of them in a Santa hat, and then I would do it against a white wall. And then eventually I started using Canva, or you can use PicMonkey to delete the background. But if you take a picture against a white background, like we did white bricks before, it looks really cute. This is last year's, which was against white bricks. So usually what I like to do is cut out the actual pictures like in size. This is Cruz's last year, which is so funny because it almost looks like Cruzy's this year. I cut them almost all out ahead of time so you guys didn't have to stand here and watch me do that. But this is Cruz's from this year, and I didn't even look at this. I just found this today, but this is his from last year. Look how similar he looks. So cute. And this is Jenna's from last year. I can't believe how much she's grown. Oh my gosh. And then this is hers from this year. She looks so much older. This is hers from this year. Like, look how much older she looks. It's crazy. But I totally don't print these any special way. If you go on to my Instagram, I have a highlight reel called like Christmas Magic, and I showed how I do this. I use a Microsoft Word document, but you could also use Google to just paste them in there. Microsoft Word is just easier with making sure that they're in front of the text, so you don't have to worry about margins or anything. But if you don't have 5 kids, it's not going to take you as long. So go look there if you want more details for how I do this, but it's so easy. And what's so funny about that is the one year that I did not like cut out their little pictures and take them, I found some super cute ones at Target. And then my older boys were like, "Oh, you didn't do the pictures this year?" And I realized how much they enjoyed that little family tradition, I guess it is. So ever since then, I've made sure that I did it, and other people that have seen it thought it was a really good idea. So that's my little mom hack if you have young kids, but it's just a cute tradition to start as well because my kids like it. All right, I got my toll spread out so I can see the different colors I have whenever I'm choosing what will look best for each wrapping paper. I'm just, I guess, a visual person. I'm just gonna be using my regular scissors, and hopefully this will help me cut it. And then I also like to use like a weighted tape dispenser, so I'm not having to pick it up. I can kind of do it with one hand, but I also have just the regular dispensers, and I'm using the magic tape. By the way, when people like me are sharing their wrapping paper or the extra little embellishments or tulle or ribbon or whatever that they're putting on their presents, don't let that make you feel bad if that's not your thing. Like, wrapping makes me happy, first of all, but if wrapping's not your thing, or if it's a labored effort to do things like that, like, don't do it. Be true to yourself. You have to remember that if that content that you're seeing is coming from someone who has followers on Instagram or YouTube, people make money from Pinterest, just know that they have extra motivation to do that stuff. Like, don't let things like that ever make you feel like any kind of way, because it's not the case. If no one were seeing it, then who knows what it would look like. I like to do it. I have put like bows and stuff on my kids' presents or my husband's presents, because that's something that I enjoy. My mom enjoys gift wrapping. I like gift wrapping, so it's something that brings me happiness. And I'm just kind of like that. But I probably wouldn't go the extra mile and like put embellishments and things on my kids' presents, at least as much as I do had I not had a platform and a way to monetize my content and things. So just know that. Don't let things like that make you feel bad. Let's get started with the Q&A though. The first question says, will you or Lance ever go in the classroom in the near future? So for me, no. So of course things could change at any moment. Things could change for anyone at any moment, but unless something changes, no. I won't be going back into the classroom, because the business that I have now is fulfilling financially in ways that teaching, no matter how high up you go in teaching, whether it's like administration or even superintendent, etc., that it wouldn't be as beneficial for my family as the business that I have now. And I just can't imagine pulling myself away from my kids and my family to go back in the classroom instead, even though I love that job. By the way, this present is for Evan, and it's his iPhone stand. Lance, however, Lance works with me, if you didn't know, with our online teaching organization that I own. He does payroll and scheduling and all kinds of things for that business. So I need him. I appreciate him, and I love that he works with me. He does drop off and pick up. So if you followed our story, our kids go to a different district than what we're zoned to, because that's where they always went whenever I taught. That's where all their friends are. That's where we want them to go. So that's where they go. It's important to us to keep them there, and we do open enrollment where we pay every year to have them go to a district that they're not zoned to, and they have to follow specific instructions in order to keep that open enrollment going. If they're absent too much, or if they have bad grades a lot, or if they have some kind of problem, they can't keep going there. So it is a little extra pressure on them, especially with attendance, which scares me with COVID, but that's where we are. So Lance has to spend a long a large amount of time in the van. So that is something that he's thinking about in the future, maybe when Cruz is like in kindergarten or something. But that's not something that I'm looking forward to at all, because he does so much for the business and I enjoy being with him. That was a big motivation for me to own my own business, is just so we could have more time together, because when we worked, we both taught, like, things were crazy with our kids and activities and stuff. We'll see what he decides. It's totally his decision, but I don't want him to do that. That would be a tough change for me. No immediate plans for now. I just tie the tulle on there, and you can tie it in a bow if you want as well. Sometimes I put it on both ways, but I just realized that this red one with sparkles, like, the glitter is everywhere, so that's just real great. I'm gonna be going to cheer in a little bit with this glitter everywhere. Jenna has cheer today. Lance has Cruz and Jenna doing all the pickups right now too. Usually they stay with me during this time, but he was nice enough to take them because I needed to film this video. So I thank Lance for the production of this video at this time. The next one says, have you ever dealt with thumb sucking? Little one is only 4 months, but I'm worried of a habit forming. No, we didn't, because we gave our kids pacifiers to prevent that. Although it's kind of hard sometimes because it's hard to find a pacifier that your baby likes. Ours all love the ma'am ones the best, especially the infant, like the newborn ones. They were a big hit with our kids. So try that if you cannot replace it with a pacifier, because you can eventually take the pacifier away. But I think if there's a thumb sucking habit, then it's too late for that to happen. Just know for your next kid. We didn't deal with that. Next question is, what is a unique tradition that you are currently doing or would like to start doing with your family? So we do like the rainbow ombre tree. Our kids decorate that by themselves, and we've done that since they were little babies. Probably like Evan's first Christmas. They didn't always do it by themselves though, of course. We did it with them, but now they do it completely on their own, and it's a tradition that they really look forward to. So that's what we do, and we also do a family advent calendar. So instead of buying an advent calendar where you open it, it has little trinkets or chocolate or something in there, like, I don't need more little stuff in my house that doesn't really have a home, so we don't do that. What we do is we have a little, if you want to see it in action, you can go to my Instagram and click on the Christmas Magic highlight, and you can see what our advent calendar looks like. But we do family activities every day for the Christmas season, and our kids love it. Like, I cannot even tell you how much they look forward to it. It is a whole big thing for them, which we didn't even realize they liked it so much, honestly, until probably this year when we forgot to do it one day, and they were like, what? Then if we skip one, then, you know, we're not going to get to do it at the end of the season. I'm like, guys, you know, there's a lot of activities. We're busy. It's going to be okay. And they're like, no, we don't want to miss out on anything. That was an eye-opener for us about how much they like that tradition. So if you're looking to start spending more family time with your kids, or like not buying them things for an advent calendar, I would highly suggest that. Wow, this little slider thing works great. I hope it keeps working that good. That was amazing. Look into that. There's lots of ideas that don't cost money, although some of them do, over on my Instagram on that Christmas Magic highlight. The next question says, I live in New Caney. I didn't know until I found you on Instagram where you lived. Do you do most of your shopping online or in store? Girl, I am one of those lazy people that do almost all of my shopping online. I don't like to go in the store, hardly ever. And also with COVID, we have tried to reduce our risk of getting sick because of Cruz. And that's cool that you live close to me. Thanks for telling me. Next one. I have a 4-year-old. Mom to mom, does Jenna tantrum, or do you just not show that? First of all, if you have a 4-year-old, don't compare your kid to Jenna, is the best advice I can give you. Jenna is one of a kind. I had 3 kids before her and 1 kid after her, and none of them have been the same as her. The other day, Cruz was doing something. This was probably like a month ago. Cruz put his hand in the toilet, and she was like, oh, gross, Mom. Cruz has his hand in the toilet. So I talked to him about it and he stopped. And I was like, well, babies just do things like that, right? They don't know. And she's like, yeah, they don't know. And she's like, wait, did I do stuff like that as a baby? And I was like, well, no, you were a really good baby. And then me and Lance just laughed because she was the best freak of nature little baby ever. And she's still the most well-behaved 4-year-old I've ever known. So the only time she does anything close to a tantrum is if she's extremely tired. This doesn't even happen like once a month. It's very rare. But if she's very overtired, then if she's like coloring or creating some kind of picture, then if she makes a mistake and she doesn't know where the whiteout is, if she makes a big mistake, like she can't draw something over it or something, then she'll cry and then we'll just know, we'll talk to her. And then obviously if she's crying, like to the point where she's like making noise while she's crying, then we know that she's just overtired. I have to sign for delivery, so be right back. Next question is, what's the most you've ever been paid for a sponsored video? Oh, okay, so I can't tell you so with YouTubers, you can't say, there's things that you can and can't share. I can share how much I've been paid, but I can't share who paid me that. So the most I've ever been paid for one single video has been $2,000, which is a lot. Like that's a substantial amount, which was great. Several other sponsors have been really close to that. It's been $1,800. So the way it works is a brand approaches you. Well, that's how it works for me. I mean, a lot of people reach out to brands and work with them, but I have other jobs other than YouTube, so that's not how I operate. Like my email just gets full of brands that are asking for sponsored videos, and I only work with brands that I actually like, that I feel like actually talking about with you guys, which I would never talk about a brand that I didn't think the product was great and that you guys would be interested in. So yeah, it was one video that was $2,000, and then I've had two other separate ones that were $1,800, and then some that were close. So when a brand approaches you, they ask you how much you want. And so my rate is high. It's like $2,000 or more per sponsored video. But depending on what I want to actually put in my video, like if I want to make it shorter than what they really want, like I don't do dedicated videos. I'm not going to put out a video that's all about just sponsored product. That's what a lot of people want me to do, and I will not do that for you guys because I don't think you would want to watch that. So that's not what I'm here for, and I don't accept things like that. I did get another offer from a brand that was a good offer, and it was Zara, which I love that brand. I didn't do the sponsorship though. They were asking me to pick out a ton, 10 different outfits or something that they would send to me, and then pay me to do a sponsored dedicated try on video. But I didn't think you guys wanted to come to my channel and watch a dedicated try on video, and also I was busy at the time, so I didn't do that. And they contacted me 2 different times to do that. So maybe in the future I'll work with Zara in a smaller sponsored setting instead of all the way one whole sponsored video that's just a Zara try on. I almost threw this little scrap away, and I'm so glad I didn't because it's perfect for a Switch game. Next question. Are you worried that your kids are going to see their Christmas gifts in your videos? You guys ask me this question a lot. You're really concerned. So I guess I do things a little differently than what most people would expect. So my kids have devices. Their devices are old devices. They don't have lots of apps on there. Safari's not on any of our kids' devices except for one. And there's no private browsing on there. And that kid is so responsible. He is literally just searching definitions at school, or doing quizzes at school instead of using the laptops at school because he says those are gross. And he looks up his grades, and that's pretty much what he uses Safari for. He does not have YouTube on his phone. None of them have YouTube on their personal devices. They do have access to YouTube, and they have their own email with their YouTube stuff on family devices, family computers that are used in common areas. And they also do, some of them have their own computers that they use for distance learning, like laptops. and they use those only in family areas, so they can't take those in their room. They can use them in the office, and that's the situation. With that being said, I'm not monitoring what they're doing 24/7, so I give them a courtesy. I let them know when I film them, because they have told me that they do not want to know what they get for Christmas. And they have never peeked at what they've gotten for Christmas. Now, there is one thing that happens though concerning that, is that Evan's friends, and I mean some of the kids that Brady goes to school with too, but especially Evan's friends watch my YouTube channel. And so they have for years. Or people he's gone to school with, some that are not his friends, or like people that he knows, they're just not people he's super close to. They watch the videos, and so they'll come up to him and tell him like, Evan, you're so spoiled, or they'll say you're gonna have a really good Christmas, or they'll lie to him and joke with him and like tell him that they'll know that he wants something. And so the worst thing that has ever happened is one of them has been like, it was a few years ago, and they were like, Evan, your little sister is getting AirPods, and he was like, no way. And so I think that kind of made him think like that he might be getting AirPods, and he wanted AirPods that year, and he did get them, but they mentioned that his little sister did because they knew that he wanted some and he did not have any. So stuff like that happens. Another thing is, like, these kids know me really well. They have a relationship with me, and they also have a relationship with Evan, not only because they've been to our house, but I was a lot of their teacher. And so we have, like, they know me. And so I have a trust with them, and I know their parents, and some of their parents are my friends, and I trust them too. I know that they're good people, and I know that they'll do the right thing. And Evan is vocal. He's like, no, don't tell me about it. Sometimes there's been a time where I went in Evan's room and one of them were on his top bunk, and they were like, two of them were watching the video while Evan was on the bottom bunk, and he's just laughing about it, and they're like smiling at him. But they didn't tell him what he was getting because they didn't want to ruin his Christmas, because he told them not to. So situations like that happen. If our kids wanted to know what they got for Christmas, they could bust in my room. They could watch the videos, yes. But they very much do not like having the magic of Christmas morning taken away from them. They look forward to it a lot. So that's the situation with that. I hope that answers your question. Even Jenna. Jenna has a little laptop that we got her for distance learning, because she is in a twice a week like reading, spelling class. And so she has a little laptop. And on her laptop, she also gets on YouTube and she watches videos of like Trinity and Madison. That's her favorite. So she also watches our videos. She's the kid of mine that loves our YouTube channel so much. Like, she loves to go back for the memories and rewatch things. So I had to tell her the moment that I was filming that, like, hey, I'm filming the Christmas video. If you see it, make sure you don't watch it. She knows, and she's like super responsible, and she would not like to know what she got for Christmas at all until like she's seen it for herself. So she knows about it. She avoids those videos, and that's that. And she's so responsible. Like, I've seen her watching. She enjoys going back and watching like what I got my kids for Easter. She watches those videos. And so on the suggested videos, the next one of mine will pop up, and she knows which ones are new and she will not watch them. So I just have trust in my kids, and they're pretty responsible. They're not perfect, but I can trust them on that. And if they make a bad decision, it's only hurting themselves. So that's that. I may have to switch cameras soon, because this one keeps overheating, and it looks a lot better than my other one, but it overheats all the time. So if you notice anything different with my camera, that's why. The next question says, we see a picture perfect life straight out of a Hallmark movie. Do you have any flaws? And then she said, I mean that with the utmost respect. Yeah, I have flaws for sure. One of them that I thought about just now was that one of my flaws is that I don't like to do things, like I procrastinate a lot, such as filming this video, if I have anything else going on. So like today, I have Jenna's cheer practice soon, and I know the kids will be coming home soon, and so that makes me want to not do the tasks that I need to do. It makes me put it off more, because I want like uninterrupted chunks of time, like a whole day to do something that I need to do. Like, that's what makes me happy. And when I don't have that, I don't get stuff done sometimes, because I want to be able to put my full attention and effort into it. And another thing is that I have a bad work-life balance a lot of the time. So having a work-life balance that's not the best. It's really bad for someone that's self-employed, because if I get an idea in my head and if I put more effort into my business, I make my family more money, and so that motivates me to then want to work. But then I miss out on time actually spent with my family, and obviously that's not good. So that's a big flaw of mine, is making people close to me feel like they're not as important as work sometimes, when I can't even sit next to them sometimes and watch a TV show, because in my head I'm like, okay, I could be productive right now. So unless we're watching a show that really holds my attention, which I love and appreciate those shows, then I'll spend that time thinking about something that I need to get done, or like a new idea that I have, and I can appear like super distracted. So that's another not good character trait of mine. I don't want to give you guys too many flaws though. Like, I don't want to make you not like me, but yeah, I definitely have flaws. As far as like a physical flaw, I have a thing too that really bothers me about myself, and I think that it bothers me because some unkind people like made fun of me a lot about it when I was younger, and it's something that like still, if anyone comments anything about it because my kids inherited it from me, that bothers me a lot. So I just have to be careful about it, but I'll show you. Don't care that much, but to show you that I do have a flaw. So I'll let you see what I'm most self-conscious about as far as like anything physical. So let me show you. I have what's called like knock knees, where like my legs aren't straight, like my knees like come together right here. So like if I put my feet together, that feels really uncomfortable for me. So like the fact that my legs aren't completely straight is like my biggest, I would say at least, my biggest physical flaw. All right, the next question says, what are your thoughts on the COVID-19 vaccine? You do you, and I'll do me, and then we'll all be fine. I feel like, first of all, if you don't know, like my kid was in the hospital for 90 days for lung-related stuff, okay? He has chronic lung disease. He's highly susceptible to long-term effects or a severe case of COVID. So I'm vaccinated, Lance is vaccinated, Evan is vaccinated, and the rest of them are not vaccinated because the vaccine for their ages just recently came out, and in our area, COVID is not bad at all, so they're not getting vaccinated right now because truthfully no one knows the long-term effects of it, and even though I have not seen any at all with me and Lance and Evan, I don't want to put them at risk for something if there's not a bigger risk in person in our area. Like, COVID's not bad. Brady got COVID at school earlier this year when COVID was bad, and he was too young to be vaccinated, and so now he has antibodies. His COVID case was just like a headache and a fever, but he tested positive for 10 days. I had to change my camera because it kept overheating, so if anything looks worse, I'm sorry. This camera is a little bit worse quality on things, but it doesn't overheat, so I can keep talking to you guys. So Brady tested positive for 10 days after getting COVID. It was forever, but we kept him isolated in his room and no one else got it. I do not believe that anyone should be forced to get a COVID vaccine. The next question is, what did you get your husband for Christmas? I got Lance, it's like it's almost like an advent calendar, except you can do it for any month, not December. Like, it's just a month of activities. It's like a month of choose your own adventure kind of activities, where every day there's 3 choices, and then he gets to pick like which thing to do. So some of the options are like kind of risque, and some of the options are just quality time spent together, and he likes to go on date nights and things with me, so that will just kind of be fun for us to do together, I think. So I'm excited to give him that. And then I also got him a little stocking stuffer book that I'm really excited about. It's called like Toilet Time or something like that, which I know it sounds so gross. It's like this book that you put next to the toilet, and it has activities for like the husband and wife. It's so weird. It sounds so gross, I know, but I got it, and I'll tell you how it goes. Not that I spend any time on the toilet, but I put that in a stocking. And then I also got this game called like Truth, Dare, Flirt or something like that. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought these gifts for him. I just was buying for his interests, okay? So that's what I got him for Christmas. Recently, I also got him a 12-month membership to beer club because he really likes craft beers and he likes trying new beers, and he has loved that. But he's still active for the next, I don't know, like 5 or 6 months. So that's another good little idea if you were asking for ideas. Someone else says, any exciting plans for 2022? We do have one trip booked. In the summer, we're going to Destin. We're spending a week in Destin with Lance's family at a really big house. I think it's like 8 or 9 bedrooms. And it's going to be Lance's parents, and Lance has 2 brothers and a sister, and his sister has 4 kids, which especially Jenna loves her cousins. She's close in age with them, and one of them is like pretty close to Ezra's age. So that will be fun, and we're looking forward to spending some time with them. That's the only trip that's actually booked. Brady has really wanted us to go to Japan. He loves Japan. If you heard in my other videos, while he had COVID, he was on Duolingo, the app, and he learned a bunch of Japanese, and he was like trying to text us all in Japanese, and I was over it. I was like, Brady, I cannot speak this language. He wants to go to Japan, and someone has very nicely offered to host our family, which when I say that out loud, it sounds like a horror movie, so watch out. But they offered to host our family if we put it on our YouTube channel. And it's a really nice authentically Japanese house. So it would be a lot of fun, but housing is really cheap there. Plane tickets are really expensive is the problem. When I looked for my family, it was $20,000 to get plane tickets there. So that's why we have not booked the trip, and also Japan is kind of iffy on travel. They have the borders open right now, I think, but it's just a recent thing, and then you can't make plans too far in the future because they don't really know if the borders will be open for travel or not. So that's where we are on that. We don't have a trip to Japan actually planned, but I do know that Brady would love to go. And a friend of mine, her sister lived in Japan for 2 years, and she went there to visit her, and people were so nice. She said she's been to a bunch of different countries, and she said it was they were the kindest to tourists. So that sounds like a lot of fun. The next question says, how do you determine what Santa brings and what comes from you guys? It just depends on what our kids ask for from Santa. So we don't really know what they're gonna get from Santa and what Santa's gonna bring. They just ask for what they want from him, and then sometimes they get what they want from him. Sometimes Santa kind of knows if mom or dad already bought that or not. Santa usually brings our kids one present at our house. How many does Santa bring your house? All right, the next question says, would you ever do grocery hauls or meal plan videos? Girl, y'all really don't know me. Okay, so I work a lot. I do admin work for my business. There's a lot of it because people constantly have questions. Parents have questions that have their kids in my classes. And so, and then there's also teachers that work with me. When they need help, I'm there to help them. And Lance can't help with that stuff because he doesn't really know, because he doesn't do that part of it. So, unfortunately, he can't do a lot of the admin work. It has to be me. So because I'm the one teaching and I'm the one constantly answering emails, which is another reason why I can't stay focused whenever we're watching TV unless it's the best show ever, which makes me happy. He doesn't really know because he doesn't do that part of it. So because I'm the one teaching and I'm the one constantly answering emails, which is another reason why I can't stay focused whenever we're watching TV unless it's the best show ever. So he does a lot of the cooking, which hasn't always been the case. We used to share that duty, or I did it a long time ago. It's not that I'm bad at it, it's just that we prefer to spend time together. And so if he can take care of that while I'm teaching, which is what happens a lot of the time, then we're all happier because all we're trying to do is get to spend time together. Which I don't want you to think that I don't spend time with my husband. I for sure do, and I spend time with my kids. But I'm just saying, that is one of my bad habits, is sometimes when I have an idea that I need to do that I know would be good on YouTube or financially, like when you guys ask me for a video, I really want to do that. If I get excited about an idea that you guys have had and asked me for, then I just want to get it done right then. And so that is a bad habit, but yeah, he does a lot of the meal planning and cooking, and we just kind of roll with it. Now we're not like cooking in bulk on Sundays like people do, because we both work from home, and so we have a lot more time than what we used to do when we both were teachers, which when I look back at that time, I don't even know how we did it. But anyway, the next question says, what do you think the kids will be when they grow up? I honestly have no idea. Evan would love to do something with sports. I don't know what he's gonna do. Brady is going to do something, I think what he would be best at is doing something that has to do with creativity, because he enjoys putting a lot of effort into things, which I share that quality too. Like if it's something I'm interested in, I honestly love just having a big chunk of time, like an entire day, for me to just do whatever and like be creative with it and do my best at that. Like, I think that Brady would be really good at a job where he's like a project manager or like an engineer or something like that. That would be great for him. Ezra, I have no idea. Ezra loves cats, but he cannot be a veterinarian because he cannot do, he is the biggest cat lover ever, and also he has never gotten scratched by a cat in his life because he will like not allow himself to, because he avoids any kind of situation where that could possibly happen. So he could never be a veterinarian because of that. I don't know what Ezra's going to be, but I hope that he finds some joy in his life. I can't predict what he's going to do, but he's sweet, and he's very nonchalant and easygoing. So some kind of job where that could be a pro, he would be really good at. Jenna, I don't know. That little girl is very creative. I think Jenna is gonna be, she's gonna kind of be paving her own way. And then Cruz, I don't know, it's kind of early to tell. I don't really know for sure what any of them are gonna be. We'll see. That's an interesting question. The next question says, what time do you go to bed and wake up? You always look well rested with all those kids. Laugh out loud. I wake up at 6:14 every day, random. And I go to bed at like 1 a.m. So I can say that we don't have any problems with our kids sleeping in our house at all. That's been something that we've been really good about training them to do. So it's not any kind of situation. I mean, if it's like once a year where someone is like vomiting throughout the night, that would be the only time where we would have like an interrupted sleep, where our kids do not wake up in the middle of the night, our kids don't cry in the middle of the night, other than if they're really sick. Our kids don't have problems getting up out of their bed, or having trouble going to bed, or doing things they're not supposed to at night, any of that. So we don't have any kind of kid problems that prevent us from getting sleep. But we do prioritize spending time together, and so a lot of the time, once we get the kids to bed and all the activities and stuff done, then we just stay up later watching TV or hanging out together, doing something together, my husband and I. So that's what makes us stay up so late. And sometimes I film YouTube videos after they're in bed, which I don't like to do because I prefer like natural lighting, but sometimes it's just what I have to do. And then sometimes I also work for my actual business. I don't really know what to say when people ask me what time I go to sleep. I don't get a lot of sleep, but I'm not like a sleep deprived mom with crying babies. So, are you working on any current house projects? So currently, no, we haven't started on any house projects that you don't know about. We did have a magazine photographer come over today, actually, to take pictures of our backyard renovation with our pool and our outdoor kitchen and stuff. But that was just because the pool is going to be featured in a magazine. The pool people that did it, like the pool company that did that, is the ones that initiated that whole process. So that doesn't really have anything to do with me, other than that I designed the stuff. We're not currently doing anything to our house. If we do anything else to our house, it's going to be to put an addition on top of our garage because we have 4 bedrooms and we have 5 kids. So if we do anything, it'll be giving them more space or their own bathroom, but we'll see. The next question says, updates on Cruz and his lungs. Cruz is doing great. Recently, he got sick. He's had a few colds, and every time he has a cold, when he recovers well, that's a win for us because, you know, sometimes, I'm sorry about the parrot, by the way, he's making a lot of noise. He usually does that if Brady comes home, so hopefully Brady's not home right now. But sometimes so the doctor said like when he gets a cold or something, he's more likely to be hospitalized, and we're also worried about RSV. So when Cruz was younger, he used to get monthly injection or vaccinations for RSV, which the normal public does not get immunizations for RSV, but he did because he's at such a high risk for not doing well with lung type issues. So every time he gets sick, I get worried that it's going to be RSV, but he's been fine and he's recovered fine. The worst thing that happens is like when he breathes, sometimes you hear a little crinkling sound inside of his lungs, which is from the scarring in his lungs, and it sounds like he has like like this inside of his lungs, that sound, which is a weird sound. It's not like something stuck in his lungs or anything. It literally sounds like a candy wrapper, but he's doing fine in every other way. He's on track, he's talking, and he's a good, sweet little boy that's becoming a much better listener. I just went upstairs and grabbed some more presents for the kids to wrap, but I got 2 things that I haven't shown you guys yet, which I know, roll your eyes. I'm sure you can guess who this is for. I got it for his stocking. It's gonna shove into the top of it and stick out the top. And then I also got this for Jenna to put in her stocking, as well as reversible sequins, and she loves her pillows on her bed. The next question says, have you had any cosmetic surgery? No, I've never had any cosmetic surgery. I don't know what you're looking at that makes you think that I would have had cosmetic surgery. I have had like filler and Botox. I have a video where I showed the very first time that I got Botox. I'm so sorry about the parrot. Maybe I should just bring him in here. Now I'm just gonna have a parrot on me, and my plan was to put him back there, but he loves being on my shoulder so much, so that's where he's gonna be. Please don't poop on me, okay? Don't poop on me, okay? Don't poop on me. He's pretty good. He usually only poops in the cage, but we'll see. Sometimes if I scare him, he's like most comfortable with Brady, so sometimes I can scare him if I do something that he's not expecting me to do, and that's when he'll poop. But you gotta be quiet, okay? Be quiet. Be quiet, pretty boy. You gotta be quiet, okay? So 2 Christmases ago, I had static lines on my forehead, and I was telling Lance, like, I think that I want to try to get, I think I want to try Botox. And I'm so glad I did because it made so much of a difference. So happy I did it. I would not like to put on makeup. Like, I noticed like a crease across my forehead, and that made me, I don't know, it just wasn't a good feeling when I was wearing makeup. And I thought that maybe I had waited too long because I thought that you needed to do that ahead of time to prevent that, and then like once you had a line there, it was just too late. And that was not the case at all. It really helped. So I had no intention of getting Botox anywhere else, but she did put it across my forehead just a little bit, like a really little amount, which you wouldn't expect because I had a big line across my forehead. And she also put it in my 11s. I have a video that shares my Botox experience going in if you want to see more. But something else that we talked about when I was there was that I have like genetically, my mom has these too. There's like, hold on, can I do this and talk at the same time? Okay, so genetically, me and my mom both have like those nasolabial folds like right by our mouth. And I mentioned that to her when I was there, and again, it was something that bothered me when I put on makeup. Like it would crease right here even if I use setting spray, setting powder, anything. So she suggested I do cheek filler. So the very first time I did anything, I did Botox and a syringe here and here of cheek filler, which is supposed to like lift your skin to prevent the lines. So I got the cheek filler, and I never really noticed a difference with the cheek filler. However, so many people complimented me and said it looked so good. I never really noticed much, but It didn't help my nasolabial folds. I hope I'm saying that. It took forever for my Botox to kick in the first time, and so I was convinced that it wasn't going to work. So after that, I became what's known as, like, at the place I go to, they have what's called a beauty bank, and it makes Botox more affordable, or like feel like it's more affordable. It's like a subscription or a membership. So you pay per month. This is Jenna's Polly Pocket thing, by the way. You pay per month, and so you can decide how much they take out. So they take out like $80 a month set aside for Botox, and then every time I go in, like every 3 or 4 months, my Botox and stuff is completely taken care of. I have not gotten cheek filler redone again, but I have had filler in other places. So the next thing that I tried was under eye filler. One of my friends had mentioned that she really wanted to do it. I saw before and after pictures, and I was like, wow, that's such a big difference. And so I got under eye filler, and I feel like you cannot tell at all. Like, I mean, I don't have any complaints or anything, but I don't know if I would do it again because I don't know if it like really did anything for me. I guess it was like a syringe. I feel like I told him to throw some away, but I guess it was like half a syringe here and half a syringe here of whatever kind of filler it was. I can't remember. And I also got half a syringe of Juvederm put into my top lip, because when I smile you can't see my top lip at all. So I tried that. I did not like it at all. They did like a dermal block, which is like what you get when you go to the dentist, you know. They did that so I couldn't feel the lip filler. So it wasn't the experience, although I hated the dermal block. That made me bruise. I didn't like the way that my lip looked, because it was mostly my top lip, because I really didn't want to do anything to my bottom lip. I was just trying to get my top lip to be visible when I smile. But I felt like it made my lip like look a little upturned. It just didn't look natural. It wasn't a lot of Juvederm or anything, but I didn't like that. So then recently, when I went back to the place to get my Botox done, I had them put half a syringe into my bottom lip, which I really like. I feel like it looks natural, and I'm happy with it. And the other half, I had her split up and put half of it here. So like a quarter of a syringe is in this nasolabial fold, and a quarter of the syringe is over here. They don't really like putting filler there because they feel like it needs lifting instead. But since mine was just sunken in like just a little bit, the results are really good. So that's been my favorite thing that I've ever done, is Botox and then the quarter of a syringe in each nasolabial fold, because it makes me look like so much more youthful, I feel like. So that's been great. But I guess it's like, okay, can you not eat my necklaces? I know you want to eat the necklaces, but I don't like you to. If you want to see some of those experiences, I do have a video on the cheek filler and the Botox if you want to see what it's like, and I still go to that place. I'm sorry about my little baby bird here being so loud. He misses Brady. He's been at school all day. He hasn't been out of his cage, so it's hard. He goes to bed at like 6, and when he goes to bed he doesn't make any noise, but when he's awake I kind of feel bad filming videos because you guys might hear him in the background. I don't know, I guess it's kind of like a puppy. The experience of owning a bird, I guess. Do you have any plans to move from this place, or is this your forever home? So we really like our house. We really like where it is. It's very convenient to get to the places that we go to shop and visit. I like almost everything about where we live. The things that I don't like about our house is that we have low ceilings. I would like us to have higher ceilings, and then we also have smaller rooms. So our house is not small, but we have a lot of people here and we have a lot of furniture. So what I wish more is that we had like more open space. Now right now my dining room table is closer to this than usual because I moved it over here so you can see the wrapping paper. But even still, even when it's not pulled over here like this, there's just not like a ton of extra space to walk around in the rooms like I would like there to be, like I think would be more pleasing. So it's definitely not a need that we move, but if we do move, that would be why. The biggest reason is that our kids are not zoned to the schools here, and so we have to spend a long time in the car driving them and stuff. Our kids can't ever ride the bus or anything, and it's farther away from their friends' houses, which is fine. That's not that big of a deal, but that is one thing that we've looked about with moving. The problem is that when we look at houses that we like in the area that we would need to move to. They're really expensive for what we would want, like 1.3 million, which is not how much our house cost. And that's ridiculous. Like, I don't want to buy a house that's that expensive, and I also don't want to spend a ton of time renovating a house either. So that's where we are with that whole situation. We don't know if we should put on an addition here and stay here. Also, our house has flooded here before, so that's another hesitation that we have when it comes to putting more money into this house, if it doesn't make sense for us. But right now we're not looking to move. That just doesn't sound fun to us. We really do like our house. We got to pick a lot of the whole bottom floor was designed by us. Like, I got to pick the kitchen and the bathrooms and the flooring and everything, the trim and everything. So I really like our house. I love what we did in our backyard, but there just are some extra things to consider. The next person says, do you tend to pay more attention to Cruz with his health issues? I have a CP kiddo, and typically I find myself doing it quite a bit. I think it's because of guilt. I personally don't at this point, and Lance doesn't at this point. When he first came home from the hospital though, absolutely yes, but now, no. I mean, I don't feel like we baby him more or give him extra attention because we feel guilty or anything like that. I mean, thankfully, we're very lucky with Cruz's health and everything he's gone through. Like, he's just a regular little kid from everything that we can tell. And I have a degree in early childhood development, so I'm not a doctor, but I think I would notice, especially having 4 kids that are older. The next question says, is Jenna in school yet, or does she start next year, and is she going to public school? Good question. Jenna is not in school yet. She's about to turn 5. She does stuff online, and obviously Lance and I are both teachers, so hold on. Lance just came home with the kids, so I handed Milo to Brady and have them waiting for just a second. I'm gonna pause this and I'll come right back to you guys when I can. So she can't go to school until August after she's 5. We haven't 100% decided if she's going to go to public school in the same place that the boys go to, or if we're going to put her and Cruz in private school. The older boys have no desire to go to private school, and they have really good friends where they are. So that's why we're keeping them there. However, I do wish that they could be a little bit more free with education there, as far as like, I just wish that they could do stuff that they could do a few years ago. Like, I wish that teachers could be more themselves. So Lance especially has begun talking about possibly putting Jenna and Cruz in private school, but we haven't made any for sure decisions. There are a few private schools in our area that are known for being really good, but they're also really expensive, like as much as like a really nice fully loaded van costs so per year. So it's a lot. It's more than our college tuition for sure to send them to private school, the private schools that we're thinking of. So we really are going to have to think on that before we make a decision. If she does go to the public school that they go to, there are really great teachers there that I would love her to be with. So either way, it'll be fine. The next question says, how long does it take you to wrap for the kids? It takes me forever. Oh, I don't even know. Usually Lance and I, we try to like wrap as we go, like, but it's hard when I film what I got my kids for Christmas videos, because I can't wrap and then I can't show you things little by little as we're getting things. Like, I have to wait until I have everything. So we don't really do that. We haven't done that in a lot of years. But what we usually do is at night, we just stand on opposite sides of our bed and then we wrap in our room once I get that video filmed. But ever since last year, you guys have been asking me to do wrap with me videos, and you like those. So now I guess I'm just going to do it, or some of it. I'm not going to get it all done. So I don't know how long it's going to take us, but Lance and I will probably spend a few nights doing it after I get this video edited, so that we're not trying to do it right before Christmas. And it's funny because when we first got married, like he said he didn't know how to wrap. I've taught him and he's gotten so much better at it. So he's pretty good now, but usually he makes me do like the bows and stuff. The next question says, would you ever film a what's in my kid's stock? Oh, I already did that. Next question, honestly, do you have a favorite child? I honestly do not have a favorite child. That's fine that you asked me that. I'm not offended. I don't. I love all my kids. I like all my kids very much. There are different feelings for each of them. I will say that there's one kid in particular that I don't relate to as far as like their thought process. Everybody else, when they make a decision or something, I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like, even though we have different personalities, we have different thought processes, we have different ways of thinking, I can see where they're coming from sometimes. But there's one kid where he's definitely not bad. He's not at all, but can't predict exactly what he's gonna do. And it's not like he's gonna be bad or anything, but just he's unpredictable to me because his brain works so different than how mine does. That has nothing to do with him being my favorite or not my favorite. The next question is there anything you're currently working on that we don't know about? Well, I am currently in the process of editing our vacation video, but I keep filming videos like this in the meantime because I feel like they're time sensitive and you guys can watch our road trip vacation vlogs anytime. So there's that I'm working on. I'm working on getting one more teacher for our business so that I don't have to teach the academic classes that I teach in the morning, and then I can have more time for doing drop-off and things with Lance and share more responsibility there, so he's not having to spend so much time in the car so that he won't get a teaching job and leave me because he's spending so much time in the car. I think that's the thing that like makes him the most unhappy right now, which he's not unhappy, don't get me wrong on that. And then personally, the only thing that I'm like really doing right now other than like cheer stuff, well, I am the room parent for all of 4th grade at Ezra School, and I'm the room mom for his class. Other than that, I am planning a party for our kids' friends. We're gonna do like a white elephant Christmas type party with different games where they can win prizes and stuff, a saran wrap ball and things like that. I'm really excited about that. I just have to get Lance 100% on board to give me a day that we can do it, but that's one thing that I've been working on. The next question says, why did you stop your Wonder What I Bought post on Instagram? I loved seeing your purchases. Okay, so that wasn't a conscious decision to stop. The reason that I haven't been posting things is because since the last thing I posted, everything that I've been getting pretty much has been for Christmas. So I didn't want those posts to trickle in, and then when I made my what I got my kids for Christmas video, you guys are like bored because you've kind of seen it all in bits and pieces. I wanted it to be more cohesive where I could show it to you. So that's why there haven't been any new posts. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a highlight on Instagram, and sometimes I do stories that are tagged Wonder What I Bought, where I just share like the most recent thing that I got in the mail or something. And I do like sharing that stuff, but I just didn't want to share the Christmas stuff. But I will continue sharing that. Thank you for letting me know that you enjoy that. The next question says, any tips on entertaining little ones during at-home days and still get everything done? Have a partner. That's not possible for everybody. I mean, most people that are home with their kids are home with their kids without a spouse to help them. But don't do anything that's not sustainable. Like, you can't be your kid's sole source of entertainment and not have like any TV time or any time to get anything done for yourself. So my best piece of advice is to give your kid a sibling. The next question says, how did you and Lance meet? Lance and I first met at band camp in 9th grade. I was at McDonald's with my friend, and he was at McDonald's with his friend on our lunch break. And he asked me if I would come play in the ball pit with him, and I said no, and he thought I was stuck up and snobby, and then he didn't talk to me again for like 4 months. I walked up to him one time in the cafeteria bravely, I don't know why, and I was like, hey Lance, if you could date anyone, who would it be? And he like said some girl, and my heart broke. And so then I didn't talk to him again for a while. Later on in 9th grade, we had geometry class together, and he asked the girl behind me if he could borrow a piece of paper. And she like ripped it out and gave it to him, and he wrote on there like, can I have your number, and gave it to me. And I didn't answer for a while because I was sitting in the front row and the teacher was like making eye contact at me. I could feel him staring into my soul. And so then Lance asked someone else for another piece of paper because of course he didn't have a piece of paper. And he thought that it wasn't good enough because like the holes were ripped. So he got a nice new sheet of paper and wrote the same thing again, like as if I couldn't read it the first time, and handed it to me again, and I gave him my number. We dated each other in high school. We went to college together. I actually was accepted to another college. I always wanted to go to UT. I was accepted there. I was gonna go there. I got a scholarship for SAT scores from both places. My scholarship was more at Sam Houston, the place that we went. So I kind of wanted to be a psychologist. I kind of wanted to be a teacher. Lance wanted to be a teacher, and I knew that we'd have a lot more family time if we both were teachers. So then I decided to major in teaching too, which I kind of wanted to be a teacher when I was younger. And then we ended up dating in college as well. We broke up for a short amount of time and then got back together, and then we got married, and the rest is history. The next question says, do you have accounts set up to pay for your kids' college? If so, how do you do it? Yes, we do have accounts for college, but we do not intend to pay for their college completely. Lance and I paid for our own college, and while, yes, that was not fun, college is a lot of money, and also some of the expenses that you have with college you can control. Like you can control if you buy new books and used books, you can control how much your housing is and how much money you spend on food, etc. I feel like that if we paid for everything, that our kids would spend more money and they wouldn't have a sense of like what everything costs. So my plan, I mean, we have a college fund that we put money in. We set it up through our bank. We could just go online and like set up the account that we wanted. So we wanted an investment account where the money grows that you put in there. We allow investments, and like some investments we allow to be risky and some we allow to be really safe, and the safe ones make a lot less money than the risky ones. So that's what we have for them, but there's not like a ton of money in there. We're not paying for all of it, but we do want to be able to contribute. And I hope that they trust me to ask for advice and accept my guidance when the time comes, but we're not going to completely pay for their college. I just don't think that would be best for them. Yes, we could 100% save up enough money for all that. That does not sound like fun, but we could do it. That's not something that I want to do. Lance and I both paid for our college ourselves, and I think that helped in a lot of ways. We had tons of student loans when we graduated too that we had to pay for, and I think that it sucked, but it was also a learning experience. And I do see now that some of the ways that we spent our money in college wasn't the best after we had to pay it back. The next question is, tell us something that we don't know about you. Sometimes when the kids are in bed and or like on the weekends when Lance and I are just hanging out together, something I really enjoy doing that I don't think I've shared with you guys is playing video games. So like I grew up playing video games. I had a Super Nintendo, I played Mario and stuff, I had a PlayStation, I love like Gran Turismo. There were some other games that I enjoyed a lot too. But my favorite game ever, and I really like the Zelda series, but my favorite game ever is Halo, which is like a competitive multiplayer shooter game, I guess. We have a few friends that we play with on Halo every once in a while, and lately we've been playing a lot because the new Halo just came out, and that's a lot of fun. So I don't think you guys knew that about me. Something else you may not know is that at one point I was in the top 1% in the world in the last Halo on grenade kills, which is crazy. The next question says, if you weren't a teacher, what would you be? I think that... Sorry if you heard my Alexa. It's schoolwork time for Evan and Brady and Ezra for after school. If I wasn't a teacher, I don't know what I would be. Probably a psychiatrist or psychologist or like a therapist or something with behavioral health. I would also enjoy doing like consulting with like people that need help with parenting or behavior issues with kids. Like I guess behavior health. I was really good at that. I also always wanted to write a book, but that's not in the plans. That doesn't sound like fun right now. The next question says, do you think you worry more about your kids' health because of how many babies you lost? Maybe. For sure, I worried a lot about Jenna when I was still pregnant with her after losing. I lost 6 babies trying to have her, and then one after I had her, before I had Cruz. And Cruz's birth was traumatic, and that whole experience was really traumatic. But maybe I do worry, if I'm being honest, I worry a lot about our kids choking. I never let them eat if we're not around and there's not an adult nearby, because I'm so scared that they're gonna choke. We have those things that you can buy, the de-choker from the car in here in case they choke, because I'm worried about that. I think something bad's gonna happen. If you've seen some of my other videos, you know that I did not name Jenna until she was born. I never thought for sure she would be here. I did worry that something bad would happen to her because of all the losses, I think. And then I know that I have to be more worried about like flu and colds and stuff because of Cruz, but I was kind of worried about that stuff anyway, honestly. But I'm sure it like adds fuel to the fire for how much I am concerned about that. If my kids ever eat anything in the car, like every single time it happens, even if there's a friend or something with us, I tell my kids like, okay, but if you choke, you have to hit the person next to you. And they always laugh, but one time, there's only been one time my kids have ever choked, other than like just a second when their babies just started eating. But Brady choked in the car one time, and he did like have to end up hitting the person next to him because he was choking. And I thought he was joking. I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yes, he was really joking. So I had to pull over and help him. Next question. What is your advice on a new teacher trying to not get burnt out? Getting burnt out as a teacher is extremely easy to do. Avoiding burnout as a teacher is extremely hard to do. The best advice is just to, if there is someone there that you teach with that you can actually trust and they offer to help with small things, like don't let them do everything. That's not good for you and it's going to cause resentment between them. But if there's something little that they offer to do, let them help so you can get back on your feet and you can do your job. The next question says, how did you potty train your boys? How long did the process take? I think I just blocked all that out. With some of them it was easier than others. For two of them it was easy. For one of them it took a lot longer at night. Jenna's process was easy, but she's a girl, so I don't think that really matters. I think every kid is just different. My best advice for potty training is to make sure that they're really ready when you do it. Like if you keep doing it and you're consistent and like after 2 or 3 days there's no progress at all, then I think that they're not ready. And when they are ready, then it will happen a lot quicker. So don't kill yourself trying to potty train at 2 or 2.5 or even 3 if you're just not seeing any progress. There's been some times where we tried and then had to like revisit in 5 or 6 more months. The next question says, how do you deal with behavioral issues? Your kids are all so well behaved. Thank you so much. Okay, so like for Cruz, if we tell him no and he doesn't stop doing something. So what we did, this is what we did for all the boys as well. Again, it's not really what we did with Jenna because she just pretty much always wanted to do the right thing. Brady also always wanted to do the right thing, but he was a lot more emotional about it, so he had tantrums. With all the boys, we sent them to the wall. So what happens when Cruz does something bad, like we tell him no and he just starts tantruming and he does it anyway, then, which doesn't happen a lot, but it happens sometimes, we send him to the wall and we put him on the wall, we just stand him up on the wall or sit him on the wall facing the wall. And then we set a timer right away. We just say, no, you have to go to the wall for not listening. And then we say nothing else and we ignore him crying. And then we set a timer for however old he is. So he is 2 years old, so we set a 2-minute timer. And he cries and he sits on the wall or he gets up and walks away. If he gets up and walks away, we put him back over to the wall and we reset the timer. And so then after he's been there for 2 minutes, and I've only ever had to reset it one time. So I'm not like sitting there staring at him, like making sure his eyes are looking at the wall or anything like that. But if he ever does like really walk away, then I just pick him up and put him there and say, you have to stay here. And then he sits there and cries, or he sits there. By the way, he's only been to the wall like 4 times ever in his life. This really works though. And then after the 2-minute timer goes off, I stop it, he's crying still, or he's quieted down. We walk over and we're like, oh, Cruz. We give him a hug and say, good job staying at the wall. You got in trouble for not listening. I love you. And then he usually says, I love you too. And then we have him say sorry. And then after that, it's so weird. It's like a switch happens and like then he will be cooperative. He'll say sorry about whatever he did. So we don't push him a whole lot. We don't like make him go over there and do restitution, like make up for everything that he did, but we do have him say sorry. And then sometimes if it's something that he's done to Jenna or something, we have him hug them, which he's always been able to do. And then we move on, and then he becomes a lot better for like 4 days, and then he'll do something again that he's not supposed to do. And this is only when we know that he's not super duper tired. Like, we don't do this super late at night. When we know he's just tired, then we do his little nighttime routine and put him to bed. But if it's something like he does something on accident or something that hurts somebody, then we don't do that either. It's just purposeful behaviors that need to be shaped. That's what we do. And then with the other kids, they don't really have a whole lot of behavior problems, but when something does come up, then they just get grounded these days. Jenna gets dojo points and loses dojo points. She hardly ever loses dojo points if she does anything wrong, because she tries to always do the right thing. But I think in the last year, we've taken away like 2 or 3 dojo points. And when we do, it's very effective. Like, she realizes right away, okay, I won't do that again. And she doesn't. The next question says, love your family. Can I please ask how you make sure you get some you time? So what I do to like recharge and feel better is spend time with my husband. That is my me time. And also eat McDonald's fries. Those are my favorite things ever. And drink Fountain, Diet Coke, or Pepsi Zero. That's my me time. That's what fills my tank and makes me happy. Time with my husband and that. So sometimes, especially if something particularly crappy has happened, sometimes I just know that I need help getting past something. And so if that's the case, sorry, there's little girls that are about 8 years old and they're riding by on bikes, and my windows are open for the natural light, and they keep stopping right in front of my windows, like looking at all the lights and the cameras and stuff in here, wondering what in the world's going on. Anyway, that's how I get my me time. Something else that I do is I have this new body stuff that is body wash that smells really good, and like body conditioner from Lush, which I've used before, but I've never used the combination of it all together, and also the Lush lotion, the Sleepy Time lotion. I'll have to show you all of it, but when I got out of the shower for the first time after using all that and putting the lotion on, the smell of my skin was like amazing, and my husband commented on it too. And ever since then, sometimes I'll just get a craving for just smelling that smell, and I'll just go take a bath or go take a shower to make myself smell like that again, and that makes me feel so much better. So that's another thing I do for myself. I don't enjoy going to appointments to get my lashes done or nails done or anything like that. Like, I do like having myself put together, but I don't enjoy those appointments. So that's not like me time. Favorite podcast? I don't really listen to podcasts. My boys do though. They listen to 6 Minutes and something else in the car. Favorite parenting book? If I had to recommend a book that I thought was the best, it would be Love and Logic. But I do not agree with 100% everything that's in that book, or I don't do everything that's in that book. But it is probably the best. Like, if you're lost, or if you just want to have some reassurance that what you're doing is okay, read Love and Logic. With that being said, I did go to school for child development. I have 5 kids, one of which is 13. And I also have experience working in behavioral health at a behavioral health center as a direct therapist to change behaviors and help behaviors in kids. So I have real life experience with those types of things. I am not trying to toot my own horn, but I could probably write my own parenting book. So I don't rely on something like reading a book. I rely on our own experience, our own degrees in child development, our own experience, and our own morals and Christian values and things like that when I make a decision for our kids. I have not and don't read a lot of parenting books. That's not to say that I have all the answers. Please don't misunderstand me, but I do have experience in that area. The most important thing is making sure that you have consistency and that you have control of your emotions, and that you don't let a child's behavior like control your emotions, because it really messes with their behavior and will promote like negative behaviors that you don't want from them. Are you sentimental about Cruz's milestones and how they'll be the last you'll experience them? Honestly, sometimes. I think Jenna going to kindergarten and him going to kindergarten, I think that will be sad. But the other milestones, until then, I think I'm going to be good with those. I haven't felt super sentimental about anything other than him walking. Him walking was a big milestone just because I was worried about a lot of things like cerebral palsy and things. And I mean, obviously him walking doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't have that, but he is at increased risk for that because of some medication he received that he needed for his lungs, some steroids and things. Him walking was a big milestone, but I've been good with the rest. Do you have a favorite Christmas, or is each year the best one yet? Each one is the best one yet. I'm so excited for this one. Do you try to spend equal money on each kid, or do you do equal amount of gifts? Our kids don't care about money, and if they started caring about that, I would worry that they were not being grateful. I don't think that that should be a factor. Like, if a lot of people ask this question, my personal beliefs are like, if you set a budget, or if you're like, okay, we're gonna spend $200 on each kid, well, somebody might not want things that cost that much money, and then you're like buying them a lot more, and then you're telling them, okay, everybody's gifts cost the same, and then one kid is opening like 10 and one kid is opening 1, and it's still not what they wanted, because what they wanted was like $250. I don't think that sounds like a good way of doing it. So instead, what we do is we don't even try to make sure. This year I haven't honestly even counted. I don't know. I think that they have about the same number of gifts, but they might not have the same number of gifts. We'll just see on Christmas. Our kids have not ever complained. If they started complaining, I would be worried. I just want them to be grateful and happy, and I just think about their interests and what they want and what they've asked for and what I think that they need when I'm buying Christmas presents. And so I don't have a specific budget, and I don't try to get them exactly the same thing. They don't really ever complain. Sometimes we have people on YouTube that make assumptions, or like they're like, oh, that poor kid didn't get as much as the rest, and it's like, okay, don't project your feelings onto our kids. Like, I'm not ruining anybody's Christmas with our presents, and I'm really not. Maybe I don't worry about that enough. It could be a me problem. The next question says, do people ever recognize you from YouTube in public? If so, is it weird? Yes. So that definitely has happened. One time it was weird. Every other time it wasn't weird. So the most recent times, twice it happened on our road trip, and it happened in Missouri the first time. So in Missouri, our kids were super sick, and it was the drive home, and I was just like, we're not going to throw up that much. So we stopped and got new Dramamine because our old one was expired, and I think it wasn't working as well as it could have been. So when I first walked in Target, I quickly walked through the Target dollar spot because something caught my eye over there. They were like multicolored reindeer lights. So I walked over and grabbed that really quickly. When I did that, a girl was standing there shopping, and when she looked at me, you could see, it was almost like when someone said they did a double take, but she was like shocked when she looked up. And she was smiling at me like intently, like I could tell something was going on. And I almost said like, do I know you? I didn't mean it in a rude way. I was just trying to say like, do you know me? Not that I'm anything special, but I just meant like, you know, do you recognize me? But then she said that she had just seen our Christmas video, like just saw it right before she left the house to go to Target. She went to Target to get Christmas stuff for her kids, and it's so funny because like 2 days before was when my Christmas video went up. So she had literally just watched it and then walked in Target and saw me there, and she knew that I didn't live in Missouri, so that was cool. And then the next day we were in Amarillo, and we stopped in Texas, and we stopped to eat at the Texas Steak Ranch. And if you get the 72-ounce steak and you finish it in an hour, they like live stream it and stuff, and you get it for free. We weren't doing that or anything, but we were there, and we were sitting at a really long table. And when we walked in, I have a lot of kids, so when we walk in, like lots of people like turn and smile, and they look at us just normally because they like to look at our babies. And sometimes people comment, and I don't think they know that we're on YouTube or anything like that. But we're sitting at a really long table where it's like a cafeteria table at school, where half of it was our family, and then there was a space and half of it was another family. And the family sitting there was a whole family with like multiple generations, and I didn't really notice anything weird other than them first like looking at me and smiling. And then when they finished their meal, the girl came over, the mom of the kid came over, and she was smiling, and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry, I just have to tell you, like, I've been a subscriber of yours, I watch your videos, and I've watched you for a long time. And so that was really cool to meet her and to say hi to her, and that she walked over and said that. Those have been the most recent times. The weirdest time that has ever happened is one time I was driving, and I was actually vlogging in my car. And then someone messaged me on Instagram, like, I'm right behind you. I see you talking to yourself in your car. Oh my gosh. And that was just so weird. I don't know how else to say it. That was the weirdest interaction when someone's recognized me, but it doesn't happen super often. The most things that happen is like our kids at school, like other kids at their school say something like, your mom has a YouTube channel. And then at my husband's school, some kids have seen me like set up just like this with the windows open and the lights on and stuff. One time a bus came by and they saw that. This is like 2 years ago. And so that's how they figured out that we were on YouTube, and one of their moms watched our YouTube channel. And so then it became like super a big deal at Lance's school, which is funny, but his students just thought that it was cool. Who's present? Oh, this is Jenna's. All right, what's a typical day like for you? Typically what happens is I wake up at 6:14 and I make sure the boys' hair and their shoes and their backpacks and everything are okay. I don't really like do anything with their backpacks or anything. I just make sure that they leave with one while they are packing their own lunches. So they pack their own lunches. I just kind of like supervise. And then once all the lunches are packed and the kids are fine to go to school, then I usually wake up Lance and he takes the kids to school in the morning while I answer emails and get ready for my day, and sometimes work on editing and YouTube and stuff. Sometimes I'll go back to sleep if Jenna and Cruz are not awake yet and catch up on some sleep until it's time for me to get up and either get up with Cruz and Jenna or get up and start getting ready to teach. And then I teach my classes, and right now I'm lucky enough to finish teaching at noon. So at noon I have a 2-hour lunch break, and Lance and I get to hang out and have lunch together. A lot of times we order lunch just so we can eat together, but sometimes we have leftovers, or like we make something at home. We eat a lot of chicken and rice bowls at home a lot. And we have Cruz and Jenna here with us. And then later in the day I start teaching again. Lance goes and picks up the kids, and then we do after school stuff. I do gymnastics with Jenna, and I take her to cheer, and I take her to dance. And I also do the driving for wrestling, and then Lance does all the rest of the driving usually. And then we come home and we have dinner together now that football's over. Then we bath time, bedtime, story time, and then we hang out together after they're asleep. And then I usually do some work sometime around there too. But yeah, I think that's about as much time as I have to answer questions today, because it's Jenna's cheer time in like 2 minutes. We have to bring some pajamas to cheer. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions for me, you can leave them in the comments below and I'll answer them when I finish wrapping. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.